a podcast to honor the gods.
This better come with a sacrifice.
Dave X Media.
The bits, the bits, the bits, the bits, the bits.
Charlie, you want to take this one?
What am I taking? I'm taking the reins. I'm taking you on a journey. Welcome to The Bits, hosted by your favorite jam buds, Charlie.
And Robert. Charlie, guess what?
What? Oh, are we at maximum capacity today? Because we have a guest. We're so squished in here. There's too many of us on the pod.
There are too many of us here, but yes, we are
Who
at
are we
maximum
joined by?
capacity. We have a third person. Who are we joined by?
Hey, it's Phoebe from Monster Donut once again.
Hello.
Hell yeah, Phoebe from Monster Donut. The last episode you were on was for
Mirror Gem,
Yeah,
yes,
Mirror
I
Gem.
believe.
Mirror Gem.
And then before that, so many birthdays. You choose
Yeah.
some interesting episodes, I have to say. Let's see, we have trauma. I'm sensing a theme here.
One's trauma about aging, one is the trauma of like war, I guess, and this one is its own special box of trauma.
You could say it's a box set of DVDs of trauma.
Phoebe, if you'd like to remind our audience who you are, what you do, and tell us why you chose this episode.
Sure. I am a dramaturg and story consultant. I have a podcast with my friend Emily, who is a classic scholar-ish. I've been telling her to remove the ish, but she won't. It's a Percy Jackson analysis podcast. And I chose this episode because it is one of the best episodes of Steven Universe, specifically season 1, I guess, in my opinion. I think it's thematically poignant, upsetting, underrated. And I think it really encapsulates that feeling that I think you often get watching early Steven Universe. That's the adults in this series are experiencing something very intense and very personal and very too adult for you to know. And I think Steven and the audience are held at a distance from it for a long time for what everyone believes is their own good. And that is, and I feel like while a lot gets unraveled throughout the series, some of it isn't. And this is one of those episodes where I think a lot of it still remains close to the characters' chests. Like, I don't think a lot of the answers are
Yeah.
all here in this
Right.
episode, and are like a lot of things just remain unanswered.
We can speculate, but
Yeah, we can speculate, but it leaves them just extremely upsetting when you rewatch it.
yeah.
And that's why I like it. I love an episode of television that makes me feel bad when I watch it.
That might be the most like eloquently put together answer to why did you choose this episode. The episode in question, of course, being Maximum Capacity, Season 1, Episode 43, which premiered February 26th, 2015. I have to be honest, I thought this episode was a Season 2 episode. This when I was watching it with my boyfriend, I'm like, we're here already? I thought this was later.
It has the vibes of a later episode.
Oh, absolutely. Like you could put this episode after like Jailbreak, after Jailbreak, and after all that's after. Oh god, what's the last episode called? It's consulting the Google Drive because that has all the episodes.
I was just gonna say Jailbreak's the last one of this season.
Isn't it?
Yeah. Jailbreak's the finale of this season, and then Full Disclosure is the
'cause
next
you
one.
You have Full Disclosure as season 2, right?
Yeah, because it's the opener for season 2.
Yeah, semantics. Didn't Full Disclosure premiere directly after Jailbreak or like the week after Jailbreak?
I mean, if it premiered the week after, that's fine.
Seasons are made up in cartoons.
See, it's true. It's true.
especially early cartoons. I mean, right now we're in the middle of season 1, which is 52 episodes long.
Trust me, we're about to hit like some parts of like Steven Universe where the episodes are all like weirdly ordered. Like on HBO Max, the end of this
Charlie,
season
that's
and
not
the
what it's
beginning of
called. That's not
next
called
season.
HBO Max. It's called
Whatever
Max.
whatever the fuck. The beginning, the end of the season, and the beginning of next season are all like jumbled in like weird ways. I don't even think this season actually ends with Jailbreak on Max. So, and that's really weird to me that they just like ordered it in a way that was just whatever. Okay, sure.
Is it on Max
It is
still?
on
Yeah.
Max.
Yeah, it's still on Max. All of it.
I like Googled it. I was like, where is this streaming right now so that I can watch this episode? And Max didn't pop up. It only Hulu popped up. And I was like, okay, I don't have Hulu. So I watched it all in like mini clips on YouTube, like it's 2008
Oh my
or
god.
something.
Oh god, kids these days will never understand watching a full anime in like episode 1, part 1 out of 3, episode 2, part 2 out of 3. Ah, fuck, they copyrighted part 3 out of 3.
Yep.
Guess I'll
I
just
hate it
never
when that
watch.
happens.
Yeah, so Max has the last episode of season 1 as Joyride,
Oh.
Yeah.
which is what I also thought it was.
Yeah, no.
And that's why I was like, season 2 starts with Say Uncle.
Yeah, no.
God, I can't wait till we
It
get to
gets
that
very
episode.
weird. I went for the actual like air dates rather than the HBO Max order of episodes because it's very dumb.
Charlie, do we have any mail?
Not that I saw last I checked.
Fantastic. So I
mail.
say we just get started into the episode. So the episode opens up with Greg and Steven walking a cardboard cutout of Greg to like the storage area. We haven't been here since Laser Light Cannon,
No, we haven't. I don't think so.
which, you know, Laser Light Cannon was like 30 some odd episodes ago. Fucking wild that we're back here again.
I know. It's been a while. I missed it. Honestly, I wish the storage unit had more time on the show. I feel like there's a lot of character going on in here, and then it's like, well, we had 2 episodes to explore it. Goodbye, storage unit.
Is this the last episode we see the storage unit?
I mean, it's cleared out at the end of this.
I mean, oh yeah, so then it has no purpose as a storage unit.
So like,
Fuck.
it's gone.
I mean, it's not gone. It's just no longer. I mean, Greg would be like, well, it's empty. I'm not going to pay for it anymore. So I guess that makes sense.
It represents the past, so we can't go back to it unless the story calls for it, is the thing.
God, Phoebe, you're You're like breaking down the story and then like pointing out the themes and plots. Damn, you should do this for like a living or something. Greg is like, hey, my New Year's resolution is to organize a storage unit. So Steven brings not Pearl, who is the clean person, the clean gem. He brings Amethyst. And I kind of understand the logic because it's like, well, she has a huge mess, but she has an organization to her mess.
She does. I mean, I understand it as Steven logic, but as real person logic, Pearl is the choice you want.
Which we find out later was the correct choice. You know, Pearl
Yeah.
was what should have been the correct choice. But Amethyst notices that Greg is throwing away quote unquote good stuff, which is mainly just junk.
Oh, you gotta mention the boxes that Steven puts out. Like, we're gonna organize it in these 3 ways.
Keep, sell, burn.
Are we gonna burn stuff?
Charlie, you and I have experienced in the past X amount of time having to sell, give away, pack stuff for
Yes.
moving. Have you had to burn anything?
You know what? Not this round. Not so far. I haven't had to burn anything. I have burned things before.
Phoebe, the last time you moved, did you have to burn anything?
No, there are things maybe I should have burned, but I'm a bit of a hoarder. So
You know what's fun? At the end of like every year, a friend of mine in high school did like a burn, like of all your old stuff that you wanted to get rid of, and I'm like, yeah, I'm burning a few of my old papers that I really hate because I have copies of them anyway.
I think the
I
only
burned
thing
a
I've
t-shirt.
intentionally burned was in one of my creative writing classes. We had an exercise where we had to write down like all of our feelings, I guess. I don't fully remember what we were writing. Things we didn't like about our own writing, that kind of thing. And then we had to go outside and burn them.
Well, that's catharsis. That's different.
Yeah.
Something, just like burn away the bad so that the good can rise from the ashes. Something. Steven finds a bunch of books and he's like, oh my god, books! Can I have books? Because I'm still grounded for like 1,000 years from watching TV. And Greg, by the way, I guess was never informed that Steven was grounded for 1,000 years.
He was present. He
He was
literally
there.
said it.
Which is funny. I think he was too focused on trying to be friends with the Maheshwarans.
hmm
Yeah.
So you know what? Sometimes, yeah, you're too focused on being friends with one person at the party that you kind of ignore your son getting grounded for 1,000 years.
This is fine. This is totally well and fine.
And so Greg lets him keep all the books except for one book, Passions of Zanzor, which he says Steven can read when he's a little bit older. Greg, why do you have smut? Why do you have smut? Yeah,
Why
like,
wouldn't he have smut? And it's alien smut too.
Right? It's like basically fan fiction. It's basically fan fiction about himself.
His life is the fan fiction, actually.
Yeah.
what if and I know he didn't, but like, what if he wrote it under a pen name? That's his book. No,
Oh, it's
not.
his book.
Ooh, that's why he doesn't want Steven to read it.
Steven, you can't read about how I fucked your mom.
Oh god.
Amethyst then turns into Purple Puma and starts to wrestle with Steven. And then Greg notices that there's a picture of him and Rose on the floor. The glass was cracked, unfortunately.
Oh no, is this symbolic of something that's gonna happen in this episode?
It's a metaphor. You take the killing thing and you put, that's probably the worst John Green line ever. I'm going to say that out loud. I reference that constantly, mainly because it makes some of my friends cringe. But out of all the lines in that book, probably the worst. Eventually, Amethyst walks further into the U store. By the way, it's called U store, which I like. It's cute. It's a play on U-Haul.
Hey.
And she walks in and she happens upon a box with VHS copies of Little Butler.
Well, like first she also had like a look after she sees the photo of Greg and Rose. She's just like,
Mhm.
I'm having feelings about this. So like it's purposeful finding of the Little Butler. It's not she happens upon it. She goes looking for it because she wants to reminisce with Greg, you know? But the good old days. Yikes.
So yeah, they find Little Butler, which is a sitcom. The first thing that comes to mind, which I'm sure maybe it'll be referenced in cultural references, the first thing I think of is The Nanny. That's sort of the
Yeah, I
same
think
vibe
it's
in terms of
especially
the
the
title.
Nanny.
So Steven keeps reminding everyone he's still grounded. Steven is a good bean. Because if I was 12-year-old, 13-year-old Steven and I was grounded from watching TV, but my dad and his friend, quote unquote, slash my mom's adopted little gremlin wanted to watch a sitcom in front of me, I wouldn't be like, oh no, I'm grounded. I'd be like, fuck yeah, TV.
I love the stars in his eyes, though. He's just like, oh my god, I would get so hooked on this show. It looks so good. And then he's like, wait, nope, can't do it. Maybe later Steven actually watches Little Butler. Who knows?
Oh yeah, is it referenced again? Ever?
I don't think so.
Is it not? Oh, geez.
Also, wait, this is like the second time we've seen a VHS player in the show. The only other one exists in the Big Donut.
There are canonically 2 VHS players left in the world of Steven Universe.
There are. Guess what I asked for my birthday?
Did you ask for a VHS player?
A VHS DVD player.
Oh shit.
Mm,
I asked
the
for
fancy
one.
ones.
So that way I can
fancy.
convert some stuff.
Oh hell yeah, go for it. So Steven wants to clean because that's the whole reason they came to this used store, and Greg's like,
Yeah.
whatever, we can do it later. I want to watch Little Butler with I want to watch Little Butler with Amethyst. By the way, this event takes place the day before New Year's. While that we get like a straight up like, hey, we're about to shift into a new year of Steven Universe. Fucking wild.
We also don't have a lot of holidays necessarily in the world
We
of
have
Steven.
New Year's, we have
Steven's birthday.
That's really it. They need to take a page out of Rugrats' book because Rugrats celebrated every fucking holiday under the sun.
I mean, that also like dates it, so it's just like, wow, how many years were these babies? But then again, Steven actually ages.
Technically speaking, they're still babies because I think the like crappy 3D animated version of
No,
Rugrats.
that's a reboot where
Oh, it's a
Phil and
reboot.
Lil's mom is now a single lesbian.
Fuck yeah, we love that.
Sadly, we got rid of her husband, who was
He
definitely her beard.
he died tragically. R.I.P. Phil and Lil's dad, who I completely forgot the name of
Who cares?
because he's dead.
Honestly, he was gay too.
So the next day is New Year's Eve. Like, holy shit! Again, I love when holidays are featured in a show because it gives like a sort of timeline. One of my biggest gripes with Ben 10, for example, is that there is a point where Ben turns 16, and then like 100+ episodes happens after that, and he's still 16, and I'm like, how?
Yeah. I mean, sometimes there's like grades and things, like you can judge like how old the characters are based on that. And then there's also Phineas and Ferb, where it's like, this has been 104 days of summer vacation, but like, how many episodes are there? Even more than that. This summer's been going on for years, guys. Also, we had Christmas and Halloween.
My favorite joke is when Dr. Jufrishman at one point is talking to Perry the Platypus. He's like, "Man, this summer's been long. It's only been 104 days, but it feels like it's been 5 years or whatever it's been."
Yeah, exactly.
Perry the Platypus.
That was good.
So Steven goes to Beach City Walk Fries, because I want to get the fucking name right, to get breakfast for him and his dad so that they have like the fuel to clean out the used store.
I love that they have hash browns. You gotta love that.
It's
This is their thing. It's potatoes.
It's potatoes. Like they got hash browns, they got fries, or they got tater tots. Do we ever see them sell tater tots?
I don't know, but like, come on, these guys are just like the definition of potatoes. You know the gif. You know the Lord of the Rings gif.
Oh gosh.
Boil them, mash them, stick in a stew. That's the Frymans. They just love potatoes.
I want potatoes now.
You're welcome.
No, not you're welcome. I don't have potatoes in my house currently.
I'm sorry.
I haven't done the market yet. I've been lazy. And then, Steven's dad is still watching Little Butler with Amethyst.
They never went to sleep.
They never went to sleep. Hey, remember tonight's the fireworks. Don't miss it.
Yeah, I guess they're not gonna get any work done. Still, it's fine.
Is it fine? It's not fine. It gets worse, actually, because Steven then... Oh, I do love... There's one of my favorite memes that some people do sometimes on like TikTok or whatever, is, Pearl, Garnet, and Steven are celebrating New Year's. They make a little noise. Pearl has her little noisemaker. Garnet just takes 2 fucking pots and she like makes a fucking sonic boom. It's great.
I love it. It's amazing.
It's amazing.
Everything Garnet does. Peak.
I'm also obsessed with Pearl's little "How's my volume?" while she's playing the softest sound you've ever heard.
Yeah, and Garnet's like, not good enough. Boom.
And then we also have to talk about the outfits in this episode. Okay, like
the cool dad jacket.
the cool dad jacket, I want it. Like I require this jacket specifically to wear. Steven also finds like a cute little sweater for Pearl. Both of these things were just in Greg's storage unit. He took them. Also, he's got I don't remember if we've seen him in this sweater before, but we love the sweater. It's blue. It's got the stars on it. Instead, he's got like some reddish pinkish pants. We got all the colors.
Mm-hmm.
It's a cute little Steven.
I do think it's important to note the lore drop that happens in this moment.
Yeah.
That apparently Greg and Amethyst are hanging out again. That they used to disappear for days, watching these tapes, and then one day they stopped for unknown reasons.
We get a little bit of a hint what that unknown reason is, because Steven goes back to the youth store. Amethyst is annoying Greg by shifting to Steven and being like, "Oh look, I'm Steven. Here's how I would have reacted to the fireworks." Ha ha ha. And
well,
Greg
it's because
like,
he's so mad because he realizes, oh, the fireworks, they're happening. I can hear them. I fucking missed it. I lost myself watching this show again with you. I can't believe I let this happen. I need to be there for my son. So, he's not just getting annoyed with her. It's, very specific.
And it's like the third time that he has tried to get up and she's stopped him.
Yeah.
Like exactly. He hasn't left this what is it called? Storage unit. He hasn't left this storage unit since he entered it.
Yeah.
And every time he tries to leave, it's Amethyst.
Okay, we need to ask the serious questions. Greg has been here for like 2 days. Where has he pissed?
Don't worry about it. Has he eaten? Don't worry about it.
Has he had water? Here's the thing. You need water after 3 days. He didn't quite make it. He made it like a little under 2 days. So hey, you know what? Maybe he just didn't drink or eat or piss or sleep for 2 days.
I'm assuming there is old food in this storage unit.
That's worse.
Like, it doesn't even have to be like a half-eaten sandwich. It could also just be like a box of like packaged chips or something, or like packaged something or other. Like, there could just be snacks
I
chilling
feel like
in
we
here.
can also assume that Amethyst has food on her.
True.
Oh, true.
It's also just as old, but
Yeah, exactly. Do we know if other gems can store stuff in their gems, or is it just pearls? Because, like, that's like a thing we find out later on.
yeah, I don't know if we ever see anyone do it besides Pearl.
Because Amethyst would store snacks in there. We all know it.
Absolutely. We'll need to double check that later because I don't think it happens. Yeah, you're right. So the big like what the fuck moment of this episode is that to rile Greg up more and to be like, oh, you know, we used to hang out all the time until you left me to go hang out with Rose, and then she shapeshifts into Rose.
And he will not look at her.
It's fucking wild. Steven eventually like jumps over where he's hiding and he sees shape-shifted Amethyst. And this look he has of like pure horror and shock before he closes his eyes, like shuts them tight. Like this is a nightmare. I'm gonna close my eyes and I can wake up and it'll be all normal.
And like so much is happening in this scene. Like the TV is like fuzzes out because like I don't know, the episode ended or whatever. And then Steven just like composes himself. You know, he's now having to take this like I have to compartmentalize everything that is going on in my feelings and focus on you guys and how you guys need to deal with your shit. And he makes it a fucking metaphor for the storage unit. It's wonderful.
In a way, isn't Lil Butler a metaphor for this? Where you end up with this child and the child ends up having to take care of you instead of you taking care of the child.
Correct. Very correct. This episode, I will say, is why I don't like Amethyst.
At all? You don't like this?
I don't hate her. They're just like, I just don't love her. She's not my favorite of the gems. And most of it is like her problematicness surrounding some of this. And I'm just like, you've traumatized my poor Greg. I love Greg. Greg is my boy. You've traumatized this poor man. How dare you?
Yeah, I mean, what she does in this scene is kind of horrific.
And she's apparently done this before.
I know, they're like, I can't let you do this to me again. What happened?
Okay, speculation. Like, what do we think happened exactly? Like, were they hanging out? Do we know if they were hanging out after Rose died, or
I think it was probably after.
Yeah, because I think it was when Steven was young. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
He did say that it was when you were young. We used to watch these tapes, so they started to hang out after Rose was gone. And then Amethyst also holds like this grudge against Greg for taking Rose from her.
So now
It's
the next question is, if when Steven was young they were doing this, do we think this takes place before or after Three Gems and a Baby?
I don't remember Three Gems and a Baby well enough to answer that.
I mean, it has baby Steven in it. So now we need to just have an idea of what when Steven was young means.
I feel like probably after. I don't remember if that's like super significant to the timeline of for this episode at least.
No, it's really not, but I'm just curious because I think the only other time I really get a young Steven is Three Gems and a Baby.
Yeah, that is the only time we do get it. But I think it's after, because I think that's when the gems start to finally hang out with Greg again after she's died, she's gone.
After she's gone. So the next day, Steven and Greg go back to the storage unit being like, we're gonna clean it up. Only to find that the gems have cleaned it up already. Pearl absolutely took charge and they were in and out in like 20 minutes. No, you can't convince me otherwise.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Pearl just like Pearl made some hollow pearls to help her, and they all had this organization system, like figured out. They did it. It was all good. It was all done.
Parry, thrust.
Thrust.
But it's against the random trash in Greg's storage unit.
She can make hollow pearls do whatever she wants. Okay, I'd like to assume she can.
It's revealed that this is Amethyst's idea. Amethyst is just like, yeah, anything that is junk, I can just take to the temple and it'll keep it in my room so you don't have to throw anything out. And she gives Greg a box that says keep, which contains the photo of him and Rose. And Greg turns the frame in his hand so that him and Rose are replaced, quote unquote, by him and Steven. It's a metaphor. He's his mom.
I am my mom.
And the episode ends with them thanking the gems going back to the temple, and Steven and Greg are just standing around in the closed, or they close the empty storage unit, and that's how the episode ends.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What sort of relationship do we think that Greg and Amethyst had? Were they friends? Was Amethyst coming on to him?
Clearly it's a toxic friendship.
Absolutely.
It was at least a toxic friendship, if not more.
I've been turning this around in my head for years. I feel like there are many answers you could give. I was watching this all on YouTube, and I was scrolling through the YouTube comments, and there were so many arguments happening about what their relationship was.
Of course there would be.
In my head, I think I've settled on it was sort of a friendship until I imagine the breaking point was her turning into Rose at one point.
Yeah.
Thinking that it might help with the grieving.
Yeah.
To see her, and it had the opposite effect. And now they just, they don't. The way that Greg reacts to seeing Amethyst at the beginning of the episode just feels heavy to me. They don't really interact anymore at all.
In my brain, it's okay, they're grieving together. They're trying to get through their stuff as friends, They're okay, let's cope by watching this weird show together, just hanging out. And then it becomes maybe something more. And maybe maybe he's just I don't know, I still have emotions for Rose, I still have feelings there, and she's just okay, I could fix that. It could always be something like that where it's that's not what I meant, that makes it so much worse, I don't want to see my dead wife. Either way, it's just
as I'm thinking about it though, the line "I can't let you do this to me again" means that she did something. Turning into Rose, almost that line to me almost says it was more than once.
Amethyst, stop turning into my dead wife. Gosh.
Yeah. I understand that the gems don't fully understand some of these human emotions and things going on here. They are alien.
But they do understand grief. They grieve in their own way.
They do. I don't know. They're still they're thousands of years old, and yet they still have the development of children. It's for some reason. So
how long do crystal gems live in general?
I mean, Pearl is 6,000 something years old at least.
And she hardly looks a day over 5,000.
Or maybe more. Maybe that was just when the gem war was.
Which would mean she's older, which is weird to think about. Hey, Charlie, Phoebe.
Yes.
Hey, Robert.
You know what it's time for?
It's time to go to the Crystal Temple for some trivia.
So, hey, part of this episode was revealed early. However, it was in Spanish.
Why?
Sometimes other Jesus Christ, why can't not come?
It's just no context. It's just funny. Doesn't even tell us where.
Sometimes other countries just have sneak previews or different kinds of commercials or whatever. The thing that's coming to mind right now is, I believe, the Brazilian version of No Way Home had an extra 2 seconds of the lizard getting kicked by an invisible person, and so people are oh, that's proof
all right.
that that Toby and Andrew are in the movie, or isn't it? And it's like, oh, we can't tell you, we're in America. And then Brazil just was like, oh yeah, sorry.
Well, we have some promo artwork here, which is very cool. We don't see that super often. We got Amethyst. I think they're all technically young because this says specifically Amethyst, a young Greg. Like, are they not all young in this?
It does look like a young Amethyst, so
Yeah. They're all attending gym class, and Steven is the teacher. It's Amethyst, Greg, Garnet, Peridot, Steven Lapis, and Rose Quartz. Interesting.
oh yeah.
This is a weird promo artwork. Oh wait, okay. So
Right,
we
the rose
we
peeking around the
yeah, creepy Rose. What are you doing here? And it's similar to like some promo artwork of Political Power, The Test, Open Book, and Too Far. I'm gonna have to look at those other artworks.
Yeah. I remember getting so excited whenever these would come out before an episode.
Fucking love promo art.
This episode begins on December 30th, which we know because Steven says he's excited for New Year's Eve the next day, which we discussed.
No way.
No fucking way. We find out that Greg's aunt and uncle were rich enough to live in a mansion, but the deed was never found before they passed. So I guess it's assumed that deed could have been given to Greg, but it was either misplaced or lost. So, hey, sucks for you, Greg. You gotta live in your van.
Is this the same aunt and uncle who have the what's it called? The planes,
the aunt and uncle who totally look like a lesbian couple.
Yes, that the entire internet is just like, no, they were just lesbians. That's a fake mustache. But is it the same people who have the barn? Do they also have a mansion? Are they just like that cool?
I think, at least on the wiki, it looks like they're the same people.
I mean, we don't know of any other aunt and uncle that he might have had, so who knows? Another weird thing. Okay, so is this the original airing of the episode? Or just an airing of the episode? In the May 14th, 2016 airing of the episode, the theme song of Little Butler was muted, but when it was released again in August 30th, 2019, it was fine. I want to know why the theme song was muted.
Yeah.
Is there a reason for this? Is this important?
Maybe there was some kind of dispute with whoever wrote the song, and I don't know.
I don't know. That's very interesting. No, that's not even when it originally aired, though. That's because it aired in 2015. So why is it in 2016 it was muted? Just for one day? I'm so confused now. Continue, please.
Oh, you were right. The premise of Little Butler is similar to that of the show The Nanny.
Woo! Vindication. Little Butler's too much money catchphrase is most likely a reference to the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, as is likely the 2-part Hawaii special. Oh, and also the 2-part Hawaii special, that's also probably a reference.
We have a reference to Sony in our TV logo, Sumi. Sumi TV. Gotta love it.
After the pile of things collapses, there's a book titled Onyx that can be seen, which is a reference to the book Unix in a Nutshell by O'Reilly Media, a manual for the Unix computer operating system. Why would Greg have this? Publications by O'Reilly Media have illustrations of animals on the cover. I'm assuming that Onyx also had an animal on the cover?
Greg was secretly a computer science major.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's what that sounds like to me.
So Greg's collection makes several references to like actual books that exist. Lord of the Flies can be seen under the 1980 parody cover. The Hunter is a Lonely Heart is a spoof of The Heart is a Lonely Hunter. And the Twin Boys make a reference to an optical illusion that we know as a Rubin vase, which is found on the cover. Wild.
Interesting. We already talked about that Steven's banned from watching TV for, 1,000 years or something?
1,000 years.
And Steven cares about this even more than Greg and Amethyst do. Greg does not remember it, and Amethyst just doesn't fucking care.
Amethyst also shapeshifts back into Purple Puma again.
Yay! Good reference. Wrestling.
Greg asks Steven what's he doing up so late, despite it being a perfectly reasonable time, just like in Laser Light Cannon.
We also have another item from Laser Light Cannon, the cat carrier that's just in the storage unit. Greg, when did you have a cat?
Where is this cat now? Probably dead.
Is it just Amethyst? Did we just get this for Amethyst? She transforms into a cat sometimes.
Yeah, I think she's the only one who really does like to turn into a cat. Yeah, no, she is. That's weird.
I mean, no one really shapeshift as much as Amethyst anyway, so.
No, well, that's fucking weird.
Greg wears the same sweater that he tried on in Fusion Cuisine. That's cute.
It's a very nice sweater, and the Mahesh Warrens like it.
But it's not the cherry sweater.
No, it's
He's
not.
a cherry man.
He's a cherry man. There's a metaphor for that. And finally, Greg and Rose's picture that we saw in Laser Light Cannon is again shown in this episode, but the frame is broken. Thankfully, Amethyst replaces the frame and also apologizes to Greg at the end. That's cute. Who are we giving our pearl points to today?
The dad jacket, obviously. The cool dad. Cool
Yeah.
dad jacket.
Phoebe, who are you giving your pearl point to?
Lil Butler himself.
Lil Butler himself. God, who am I giving mine to? Usually I like giving it to like the little guys, and it would be Lil Butler, I guess. So yeah, you know what? Gotta commit to the bit. I love Lil Butler. He's good at his job.
He is. This small boy was forced into servitude. Is he still a baby?
Is he a baby?
I mean, his voice is definitely a child's voice.
He looks the same as when he was like given to them as a baby. So like, is he a baby? Is he a small man? I have questions. Is he an alien? This is not explained.
Did he leave his family behind?
I mean, I think they left him behind.
Yeah. So maybe Lil Butler just has the same kind of origin story as Cookie Cat. I don't think anyone should be eating Lil Butler, though. He does not appear to be super duper yummy.
He's a refugee from an interstellar war.
And he's available at the local grocery store.
Little Butler.
I'm surprised none of us sang the theme song. It's not that
Little
catchy.
Butler, that's you.
Never mind, we lost. And then the question, what the fuck do we ask? Because the only question I'm like, what? The only question I'm thinking is like, hey, what's the show you watch when you're feeling the moods?
Oh, I was gonna say, what is like a show that you've gotten so sucked into that like you've been like, wait, I should probably sleep. No, another episode.
I have too many of those. Oh god, I have to wait too many.
Can you
of
name
those.
at least one show that
Doctor Who,
so sucked into?
House MD, currently watching Black Cells for the first time. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
God, what else? The Percy Jackson show, that's been in my brain since it premiered.
True.
There are so many.
Yeah, no.
Steven Universe says, hey, we're fucking watching it to do this podcast.
I mean, I was in fact watching the Avatar finale till like 1 or 2 a.m. Last week because my girlfriend had not seen it. And I was like, wait, we probably should sleep. No, we have to finish this. We do.
Sleep is for the weak. Phoebe, what about you? What are some shows that you're like really, really into?
I'm thinking. I mean, Black Sails was the last one that this happened with, where I just like couldn't stop watching it. Once I got to like a certain point, I think around the very end of season 1, maybe beginning of season 2, and then I just started racing through it. But the first show I probably did this with was Supernatural, because I remember like I watched an episode out of context at one point at the end of season 6. It was like maybe the third to last episode of season 6, and I had caught up by the time the finale aired of that season. So like maybe 3 weeks later I had watched 6 seasons of television. So Supernatural. I did the same thing in college with like Cutthroat Kitchen. Oh, you know what? Over the Garden Wall. I know it's only 10 episodes, but like I didn't realize that when I was watching it. And so I watched it all so quickly without realizing it, and then was like, where's the next one? This feels like a finale while watching the last episode. I was like, no, don't tell me this is the end.
You're just like Woody from Toy Story 2. All right, the next episode.
Exactly.
Wait, what happened? What was the next episode? It got canceled. You know what? I can understand Prospector Pete, because I too am very angry when shows that I like get canceled after a season or two.
Mm-hmm.
All right, before we go, Phoebe, if you could once again tell our audience who you are, what you do, and where to find you.
I am the co-host of Monster Donut, a Percy Jackson podcast, which you can find on all of your podcasting platforms. And you can find us on social media at PJOPod on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. And you can find me personally at Dramaturg, spelled like drawing with a pencil, Maturg, on Twitter, and PHOJOCO on Instagram and YouTube. If you want to watch my video essay about Percy Jackson and Black Sails.
Good shit.
Every time I remember that your handles are PJO Pod, it's like nobody took it. How did nobody think of this? How did 4 years of podcasting go by and nobody thought of it? But you did, and you and Emily thought of it, and that's smart. Got to get that SEO just banging. All right, hey Charlie.
Hey, Robert.
If every podcast were perfect,
we wouldn't have the bits.
Bye.
Bye. You can follow this podcast socials at The Bits SU Pod on Instagram and Tumblr. You can send a message to our Diamond line through thebitssupod@gmail.com. Be sure to give us a rating, a review, or let your friends and followers know how much you love the podcast. That really helps. Our music was written and produced by Jason Hilton. You can find him at Negative Selections on Instagram. You can follow me, Charlie, at GreenPixie12 on most platforms, and I also have an art Instagram at GreenPixieDraws.
You can find me, Robert, at the Damn Meme page on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Damn is spelled D-A-M. If you want to hear more from me, check out one of my many podcasts. I have a Once Upon a Time podcast called Entering Storybrooke, a Kim Possible podcast called That's a Sitch, and an Osman Verse podcast called the Truum Grammar Book Club.
The Bits is proud to be a part of Deus Ex Media, which features great podcasts like Of the Eldest Gods, a chapter-by-chapter Rick Riordan pod with mythological context and no spoilers.
Well, we finished the Percy Jackson series. Wait, what are we still doing here? And what is that music?
Oh, you thought it was over, bro? We're just getting started.
We are? Charlie, what's next for Of the Eldest Gods?
Well, Ray, it's time for us to go into our Egyptian era. We're gonna start the Kane Chronicles.
Oh, hell yeah! Wait, why do you have a glowing boomerang?
Don't worry about it. It's just my Egyptian magic wand.
Man, the Egyptian stuff isn't gonna be like the Greek stuff, is it?
Not at all. But we'll still cover mythology as it comes up in each chapter.
Are we gonna have cabins this season?
Nah, the Kanes don't have cabins. So instead, I'm Charlie, following the path of Bast.
And I'm Ray, following the path of Geb.
Join us as we read The Red Pyramid, the first book of the Kane Chronicles, chapter by chapter.
Welcome back to Of the Eldest Gods.
The hell is messaging me and why? That is...
At this time? How dare you?
No, it's another person commenting, because when I made memes for Seaweed Brain, and they're covering Kane Chronicles now, a lot of people are like, hey, you need to differentiate between when you mean Carter the host and Carter the character. I'm like, how about if I just don't? How about you just guess?
Deus Ex Media.